Good morning, friends. I'm Christiana Gaudet. I am live on my YouTube channel for the first class of the month of September 2020, Breathing Fire with the Suit of Wands. Thank you all so much for being here. Let me say hello to a few people. Smile Soul 20, our friend Leisha, glad you're here. Marcos Herring, but I know it's not Marcos, it's Anna. Nice to see you. Marianne, nice to see you. Diva Sabrina, hope you're well. I always forget to turn it off on my phone. That's so funny. Okay, now we're good. Okay, Marjorie, nice to see you. Dina Moskowitz, nice to see you. Vivian, glad you're here. Marion K. Taro, happy to see you. Karen Winkle, over on the left coast. I know it is super early in the morning for you. Thanks for being here. Aaron, glad you're here. Luna Song, happy to see you. Barbara O'Brien, my South Florida friend, glad you're here. Betty Fleischer, nice to see you. Dave, nice to see you. Glad you're here. We'll welcome people as they start coming in. All right. So for today's class, if you have not already done this, please separate out your suit of wands, all 14 wands cards. Those are the only cards we'll be working with for the next hour. And of course, for those of you who are watching an archive, I really appreciate you as well. Dot Lovett, happy to see you. Pamela, glad you're here. Hey, Chriswell, happy to see you. Okay, so hey, Laura, nice to see you. While we are separating out our cards, let me just do some really quick shameless self-promotion for what we've got coming up. Remember that all of our scheduled lives here on YouTube are in the live tarot webinars playlist along with the webinars we've already done. That's our meetups and classes. So if you missed one or if you want to review something, it's all there. If you want to see what's coming up, it's there. Remember, too, that we have moved all our live webinars from Facebook to right here on my YouTube channel. So Global Tarot Circle is happening here instead of on Facebook. However, the Global Tarot Circle group still exists on Facebook. If you're not a member, please do ask to join. And speaking of Global Tarot Circle, that's our next thing coming up right here on my YouTube channel this Wednesday, September 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Would love to see you here. We're doing 3 tarot meetups and 2 classes every month here on YouTube. The tarot meetups are a great opportunity to give and receive readings, to practice your tarot chops, and to do some informal learning and to ask any questions that you have about tarot. The classes, of course, are more focused around a particular topic. Our topic this morning, of course, being the Suit of Swords. I also want to let you know I have 2 premium Zoom classes coming up this month. On Thursday, September 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, The Meaning and Magic of Tarot Reversals. Wherever you are in your tarot journey and whether or not you tend to use reversals, you will find this class very helpful in learning how to use reversals, in understanding the spectrum of meaning of each tarot card, and in learning how to do active magic and manifestation at the tarot table. And on Wednesday, September 30th, a lot of people have asked me for some beginner review level classes. So you ask, I will respond. Wednesday, September 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Journey Through the Major Arcana of Tarot. If you are just learning or if you want to hear my take on the Major Arcana, join us for that class. You need tickets for both of those classes. You can get them on my website, christianagaudet.com. Go to the events, or on my Facebook business page, again, Christiana Gaudet. Just look at the events. You can find links to the Zoom tickets there. Thank you so much. Oh, Marion is liking my attire. See, it's got these great sleeves, right? Lots of fun. Yes, thank you so much. So, today's topic, breathing fire with the Suit of Swords. Now, in most tarot decks, in most tarot traditions, the suit I'm sorry, did I say the suit of swords? See, I'm thinking ahead of myself. The suit of wands, right? The suit of wands is associated with the element of fire. The thing is, there are a few decks and some magical traditions where it's reversed, where swords are fire and wands are air. And typically, we will see, as we do in the Waite Tarot, the wands being fire and the swords being air. And that's how we're looking at it here today. However, it's interesting to note that those two things can cross. When we think about air and fire, swords and wands, we want to think about, like, what is their crossing point? What do they have in common? And certainly, what I think about right away is that yogic breathing technique, the breath of fire. Have you done breath of fire? It's the final breathing exercise of the Bikram series. It's used in other yogic practices as well. And certainly when you do the breath of fire, you are not actually breathing fire. And when we look at this suit of wands and many illustrations of the suit of wands, there is nary a flame here. We do not see actual fire. And so we say, well, what is this fire of which we speak? It is interesting to note that in many spiritual traditions, fire has a meaning beyond flames. Fire is our life force energy. It's our chi energy. When we do the breath of fire, we are bringing energy up our bodies. Now, think about other metaphysical traditions, other spiritual traditions. When John Wesley, who founded the United Methodist Church, had his conversion experience, he felt his heart strangely warmed. Did that mean that his heart was literally on fire? No, it did not. When we think about fire imagery, very often we're not thinking about literally what cooks our food or heats our homes. We're thinking about what excites us, what makes us angry, what we feel passion for, what motivates us, what makes us laugh. We're thinking about the feeling we have when we're playing sports or when we're doing art. That is metaphysical fire, and that is the fire that we see in these cards. Now, how does that relate to air? And how does that relate perhaps to the suit of wands? Well, they're both masculine elements, air and fire, and I think they both have something that happens in the brain. They're both about the things we think about. With air, we're more logical. With fire, we're more passionate. But they both inspire our creativity, and they can both deal with communication. So we'll think about that as we go through these cards. And let me ask you, in terms of your experience with these cards, your experience with the suit of wands, what have been your thoughts about the suit of wands? How do you see fire in these cards? What do you see these cards expressing? Go ahead and chat in your thoughts, your questions, your ideas about the suit of wands as we go forward. And Dot Lovett, you're Anita. So nice to see you here. You're an artist, so this is, the suit of wands is right up your alley, isn't it? Jeanette, nice to see you. Claire, glad you're here. Christine and Celeste, glad you're here. So do share with me your thoughts about this suit. Timey Tales, nice to see you. Gypsy Jade, glad you're here. So I would like to go through these one by one, and I'd like to talk with you about how I see these cards. If you have a comment about a particular card, make sure you label it, the name of the card, so we know what you're talking about. Now we've got some comments here about the suit of wands from people. Anita sees energy and speed. Barbara sees sexual. And certainly when we look at the very preopic Ace of Wands, we can see where that's coming from. Claire, inspiration and directed energy. Marianne sees strength. Chriswell, I don't remember who told me long ago, wands work, swords struggle. You know, I don't like that. If that works for you, that's great. But I really don't like any sort of way of looking at tarot that makes some set of cards more difficult than the other. So that wouldn't work for me. If it works for you, that's great. Dave, I've always seen wands as birth and rebirth, growth, progress, and nature. Sure. Melanie, nice to see you here today. Growth, claiming space, transformation. Laura, energy and movement. Christine, the creative spark. Dina, vision, victory, and violence. Aaron, sparks of creativity in its various stages. Sure. Anna Herring, Ace of Wands, shows so much like that hold my beer feel. Ready to take action with not a lot of second thought. Barbara O'Brien, masculine sexual energy, certainly, yes. Sarah, abundance and growth. Okay, very good, very good. So let's start with this Ace of Wands. And when we think of all the aces in tarot, what do we think about? We think about new beginnings. We think about the seed or the essence or the initial concept of something. Now, some other thoughts coming up here around the wands in general. Sabrina says the whole suit seems to speak as physical action. It sure can. Although when we get to the Two of Wands, I'm going to say, well, maybe not the whole suit. Putri, source of excitement, power, passion, and energy, certainly. Dina says wants. Absolutely. So, the Ace of Fire, the essence of fire, the source of fire, the beginning of fire. And I have to say very often, and you folks know I can be fairly, I don't know, some people would call it crude. Some people would call it down to earth. That when I see the Ace of Wands, I will often think and sometimes say, depending on who I'm reading for, okay, who or what do you have a heart on for right now? And when you think about that expression, what do you have a heart on for? It could mean, who do you want to have sex with? It could mean, who are you fanning on? You know, who are you standing right now? It could mean, who are you angry at? Could be any of those things. Hey, Lisa McCord, glad to see you. So the Ace of Wands can be that burst of creative energy, an idea, a new project. It can be anger. It can be excitement about something. So when you see the Ace of Wands, you have to think, is this a new project? Is someone angry? Is someone interested in sex? And, you know, that's going to be very contextual. You know, if you say, well, how does he feel about me? And you got this card, you got a pretty good idea. Cynthia, nice to see you here. So, you know, that's what I think about with this card. But remember, too, that every card has a continuum. Of course, I'm teaching my class on reversals coming up. And when we think about this card reversed, if you see this card in an ill-dignified way, you know, that's very telling, too. Are you not feeling your strength? Are you not feeling your energy? Are you not feeling your vitality? And what's going on with that? Is that physical? Is that mental? Is that emotional? What's up with that? So as with all the suits, each card leads into the next. It tells a story. We talk often about the Fool's journey through the major arcana, but the Fool travels through the minor arcana as well, looking at each card card by card, and we see a story. So we start out here with, oh man, I've got this great inspiration, this great project I want to do, this great business I want to build, this great workout program I want to start. Dina says the Ace of Wands is a big thumbs up, right? So should I do it? Heck yeah, with enthusiasm, right? But what about this? Should I do it? Maybe not, or maybe you're not so enthused about it. So now we come to the 2. And so if the Ace says, should you do it? Yes. The 2 is going to say, well, how are you going to do it? Here we see a person looking out over the horizon. They have the whole world in front of them, and yet they're looking at a miniature world. They're holding a globe in their hands. What are they thinking? How am I going to take over the world? How am I going to enact this plan? This is what I want. This is my inspiration. But how exactly am I going to do it? And so with the 2, we see the dreams, the plans, the motivation is here. The thought on how to manifest is here. And so this is this sort of very important stage in any project. If it's about wanting to date someone, how am I going to ask them out? If it's about, I want to start a business, well, how am I going to do that? If it's about, I want to do this project, well, what's that going to look like? This is the visualization stage. And very often when this card comes up, I think about the act of manifestation, the act of creative visualization, the act of dreaming and planning and setting your goals. And this is so very important. But you don't want to get stuck here, because if you get stuck here, then you're always thinking and never doing. And this is a place where we see that cross with the swords, because the swords, of course, is all about thinking. And in this card, we are also thinking. So let's see what some people have to say. Marion, Ace of Wands makes me think of beginnings, the first fire minor, related to Aries, the first sign in the house of the zodiac. Yes, indeed. Cynthia, 2 of Wands, expanding your horizons. Absolutely. Dina, lately I see this as a prophet. And that's not prophet with an F, it's prophet with a PH. Can you expound on that just a little bit, Dina? How do you see, like he's standing there preaching? Is it an omen of something coming? How does that actually show up in a reading? Give us an example of how you've seen that in a reading. That's very interesting. So now let's move on to the 3. And so here's that story expanding. I've got this great idea for a project. I'm thinking about how I'm going to do it. Now I'm putting it into motion. And I notice that some people see the 3 of Wands as that putting it into motion, and now let's wait and see if it's going to be successful. And other people see it as, okay, it's in motion and it's already successful. And I do tend to see myself, the 3 of Wands, as your first success. You are going to be successful. So, Vivian, what about the reverse 2 of Wands? Thank you. Yes, let's talk about the reversal for each of these cards. And do as Vivian did. If you see me skipping over something or forgetting something, ask for sure. Remind me. I've got some gray hair here. My memory is not what it used to be. All right, but I don't have to be a good rememberer. If you're a good psychic, you never have to be a good rememberer, right? Okay, let's go back to 2 of Wands reversed. That may be skipping the planning stage. You know, someone says, okay, I've just invested all this money in my business and I don't have a business plan. Right there. It might be the person who forgets to do their magic, who forgets to do their manifestation work. So with this, if it's reversed, you need to be reminded, or maybe you don't know, maybe you've just forgotten, maybe you're so disillusioned that you've forgotten how to dream. You've forgotten to set goals, or you don't know what your goals should be. This is a really sad card when it's reversed, but when it comes up in a reading, it's very telling in terms of what the person needs to do to become an active co-creator of their life, to be open to the idea that they can create wonderful things in their life, or simply a reminder that you can't skip the planning stage. Okay. Anita says, that's so true. As my memory gets worse, my intuition gets better. You know, it's true. It's true. And so Dina says, okay, with this too, like a male high priestess, there is secret knowledge here. I get that. I like it. It makes sense. It makes sense. Claire says he's incubating creative ideas. And with the 3, Heidi says, and again, make sure, I can kind of follow, but make sure you say, if you're speaking about a particular card, tell us what the card is. Heidi says, I see him watching his plans come true. His profits are coming in. So that's funny. We've got profit with a PH, profit with an F here. That's awesome. I love that. So yeah, that's how I see it too. Okay, what about when this is reversed? It may be that there has been something that has not been successful or will not be successful. Maybe you're afraid to pull the trigger. Maybe you're afraid to launch. Maybe you've got issues, fearing success or fearing lack of success. If someone says, you know, should I do this project, and this comes up reversed, I'm going to say, let's really rework it. The way that you're thinking about it right now may not manifest the success that you would like. Now, Anna says, the 3 of Wands shows a lot of outsourcing to me. So that's interesting. As you grow your business, getting other people to do some of the work. That's really interesting. I like that. Claire reminds me of skipping vaccine research. Got it. Betty, why do people always say 3 of Wands for partnership? I have never heard that. So I don't know which people are saying that, because that is a new one for me. So I can't speak to it. And, you know, as with anything, you know, there are so many tarot voices out there right now. We've got the videos, we've got the books, we've got the classes. There's so much. And I really encourage people to take a lot of classes, read a lot of books, watch a lot of videos, and take what resonates for you, because we all see it differently. I always say, even though I do a lot of tarot teaching, I can't teach you how to read tarot. I can't. I can only help you access how the cards work for you, because we each come to the cards our own way. We each have our own personal relationship with the cards. Okay. So let's see some other ideas on the 3 of Wands. Okay, Claire, 3 of Wands reverse, your ships are not coming in, right? Dina, same, 3 of Wands, ships aren't coming in. Heidi, 3 reversed, issues with plans, something unseen going wrong, sure. Vivian in the 3 of Wands sees travel and international deals. So the idea of building an international business. Chriswell, 3 of Wands, the ships go out. If you're just starting, ships coming in, bringing in the goods. Danielle sees business here, absolutely. Anita, 3 of Wands, I've heard partnership because 3 is stable and creative. Fair enough, very good. Anna, 3 of Wands, waiting for your suitcases. Vivian, 3 of Wands shows opportunities are coming for sure. Okay, very good. Right, so with the baggage, right, getting your suitcases off the baggage. Yeah, that totally makes sense, absolutely. All right, back in the days when we used to travel a lot. So now we come to the 4. So traditionally, the 4 of Wands is the marriage card. It can traditionally predict attendance at a wedding. It can talk about your own marriage. And so that's interesting. Like, we're talking about business, we're talking about enterprise, but we can also tell this story about relationships. And maybe that's where partnership comes in for this card as well. So with the Four of Wands, we can see marriage or attendance at a wedding. We can see a business alliance. We can see a celebration of success. So if you're telling the story within these cards, it might be, I just met someone and I'm really super excited about it. Let me see if we can talk and see how we get along. Oh, wow, we really have a future here. And now we are solidifying that future. If it's about business, I have a great idea for a business. Here's my business plan. Here's my business being successful, and maybe this is the public offering. Maybe this is the first celebration of the business. Maybe this is even the opening the doors of the brick and mortar. But as in all good stories, let me not forget the reversal. Four of Wands reversed, I will very often see as a divorce, a broken marriage, or an ill-advised union. It can also be, you know what, it's not yet time to celebrate. We're not there yet. It could be some sadness or some instability. And I had a question here regarding the fact that these folks, their backs are turned. They're not looking at us. They're looking toward their future. That's what I think. I mean, you can probably read some research on A.E. Waite to see exactly what he was thinking of. And very often, like if you read the Pictorial Key to the Tarot, you will find that what Waite was thinking back then, we're not thinking at all now. Things have evolved over time. And like all good art and all good tools, what we see in these things now is so much more and so much different than what the original readers of tarot, authors about tarot, and tarot designers saw. And there's nothing wrong with that because it is evolution. So where were we? So for me, the turning of the back is really, look toward the horizon, look toward your goal. I often say, look where you're supposed to go. Some of you know I am a struggling roller skater. My husband loves to skate. I try to skate with him. I'm not so good. But one thing I've learned, when you put wheels on your feet, you had better look in the direction you want to go. If you're like, oh, they're wearing a nice shirt, you're going to go in that direction and you're going to fall down. So to me, both of these cards say, look in the direction you want to go, right? Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Betty, for the Four of Wands, sees it as talking about soulmates. Anna, can the Four of Wands represent the poles of a bed? I've seen it that way. I mean, if you look at it and you see that, Chriswell sees the huppah for the Jewish wedding ceremony. And I would say, whatever we see in these cards, whether or not it was intended by the artist doesn't matter. And whether you see it that way every time or not doesn't matter. Every time you do a reading, in a way, you want to look at those cards with fresh eyes and see what it reminds you of today. And Anita very wisely says, 4 is also a way to measure land, so real estate may be involved. Certainly. Vivian, 4 of Wands, giving a physical structure to an idea. Oh, I love that. And really, 4 of Wands very literally is fire in a box, right? 4 being the box, Wands being fire, fire in a box. So that's the hearth fire. It is structure. That's brilliant. I love that. And Vivian says 4 of Wands can also be about buying a home or moving or getting appreciation from others. Absolutely. Pamela, same with riding a motorcycle. Look where you want to go, not where you're at or off to the side. Oh, and Lisa says that too. That's so great. And, honestly, looking at how bad I am at roller skating, hearing from both of you that this is true about motorcycle riding? I'll probably not do that. Okay, Heidi, regarding looking at people's backs. Sometimes I see the person I'm reading for or behind the person, observing or not an active participant. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. And a couple of people, Cynthia and Betty, have said, with that 2 of Wands, we also see the 11, that special angel number. Okay. Claire, red triangle roof could be about wife-husband marriage, 3 parts of a marriage, certainly. Or wife-wife marriage or husband-husband marriage. However it is for you, absolutely. And yeah, that red, it is interesting how that red roof is there. That feels very symbolic. But also, could that also be fire? Just the concept of fire there. So, reversed, your fires come out of the box, right? And so that may not be such a good thing. Now, as in all things, right, we see this really great story. Oh, interesting. Since wands are fire, can they show inflammation? So depending on where you're at with actually talking about medical stuff in a reading and how intuitive you are, certainly. Whatever you see, in that oracular moment, whatever you see is what you see. And if that's how it comes up for you in a particular moment, by all means, yes. By all means, yes. And no, sorry. Ask the question when it comes. We jump all over here. If you don't like a class that jumps all over, you are not going to enjoy these classes. And that's just the way it is. All right. On to the 5. So we've got this really happy story here so far. And into every life, some conflict comes. So it could be that, okay, we had the wedding, but now we have a fight on our honeymoon. It could be the business is going well, but now we have a problem. It could be everything is happy and controlled, but now as we try to expand, things are getting weird. Because the 5s in tarot are about expansion. If you think about 4 as your comfort zone and 6 as victory, 5 is what happens when you jump outside of the comfort zone. Now, very often when I see this, I see it as creative conflict. Perhaps. Hey, La Morena, nice to see you. IKEA tent instructions. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A diva sees a battle here. Absolutely. So with this card, with the 5 of Wands, we could have a fight. We could have conflict. We could have, it could be too many cooks spoiling the broth. It could be in your business you have not done well with clear job description delineation. But remember that somehow this is going to take us to this. Now, whether that victory is simply solving the conflict. Adina sees competition here. It could be people competing. It could be how we, like if you've ever done a creative project or sat on a committee with people, the outcome can be really great, but the way forward can be really hard. And with this card, sometimes when it comes up in a reading, it is just about conflict. It can be internal conflict and decision-making. It can be conflict with people around you. It can be, Claire says, a power struggle. Betty, could it be actual physical abuse? It sure could be. We got married and now there's abuse in the marriage. It could be. Absolutely. Marion in 5 of Wands sees the dismantling or building of a pentacle. So are we building something or are we taking it apart? Sarah says in tarot, I think 5s generally represent conflict and change. In the 5 of Wands, everyone's fighting to be heard, but no one is listening. The Five of Wands encourages diversity and debate with a clear strategy and purpose. I love that. I think that's beautiful. And in the Five of Wands, this is an interesting thing. From Chriswell, something I have never noticed, and this is why I love doing these classes. I always learn something new. Chriswell says in the Five of Wands, everyone is dressed differently. No one agrees. Heidi says in the Five of Wands, frustration, everyone talking at once, no one listening. And again, a call for diversity. That's the second time I've heard this, excuse me, here today. Vivian, Five of Wands, could be diversity like racial, gender, sexual diversity, could also be different opinions. Cynthia, Five of Wands, everyone is giving their own opinion, but they don't arrive to an agreement. Dina, Marian Tarot, Witch's Coven, about to build a pentacle. Please excuse me. Of course, with the fives, my allergies are going to kick in, right? You always want to look at your physical responses to the cards. And, talking about this card, the five, having to do with covens, it's very interesting because like the average lifespan of a coven is like 6 months because of the conflict that can happen within. So that's kind of fun. Dave says committee, right. Now everyone's putting in their 2 cents. And Betty says in Modern Witch Tarot, they're wearing face masks. That's awesome. Karen Winkle, Five of Wands, wanting to do it your way too much and not listening to other ideas. Gypsy, I often wonder what the difference is between the Five of Wands and the Five of Swords. Great question. Here's how I see it. The Five of Swords to me is a clear battle with another person. There's going to be a winner and a loser. You cannot avoid. You cannot back down. You got to fight. You got to fight to win. Someone's going to walk away happy and someone's going to walk away sad. Does not predict whether it's you or the other person, but there's the battle. Here, I think that we can come to an agreement, and it could just be internal. All of this could be the committee in your head. Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm conflicted about this. This person says this. This person says that. What should I do? So this may be very, how do we want to put it? Internal. It can be internal struggle. Whereas with the Five of Swords, you've got to fight on your hand with someone or something. So let's see. Yes, Seven of Wands has 2 different shoes. Absolutely. Dina, 2020 is a Five of Wands year. Heck yes. Okay, and Danielle, her coven has been in existence since 1995. There are some that absolutely have that. And you know what it usually is? What allows that to happen? Great leadership and really, really dedicated people. And so, yeah, there are covens that have been around for a very long time generationally, but they're few and far between. And so if you're in one and you're lucky enough to be part of that, that is a great thing. Okay, Anita, fives are on a pillar of severity in the tree of life. Yes, exactly. That's perfect. Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. Barbara O'Brien, Five of Wands, the need to be right. Also, change of the pecking order. Right, someone changing the pecking order. Claire, group dynamics, Five of Wands. All groups go through a bantering period before moving to a better structure. And all brains do too. So again, this could be a group thing. It could be a brain thing. So reversed. Very often when I see this reversed, I see someone who is conflict avoidant. Do you know those people who will never take a stand? Who just always try to be nice to everyone, which isn't a bad thing on the outside. But if they can never stand up for what they believe, if they will never defend what they believe, or if they are afraid to sort of be the one to speak up, I often get this card. It could also, I suppose, be the settling of the conflict, the compromise, the coming to a place of compromise. But once we get through all that, then we win, and that's where we see this process. And that's where, it's important to recognize that the fives are not destructive. They are a natural part of a process. Because otherwise, we're going to live here forever and we're never going to grow. I had a teacher once who taught me to see the fives as expansion. And the first time he told me that, I was like, what? But over time, I really see it. If you've got a business and you want to grow your business, you're going to go through the five before you get to the six. If you are working on personal growth and trying to heal from the things that have hurt you, you're going to go through the five before you get to the six. So the six I see as victory. And when it comes up in a reading, I see it as a card of athleticism. Being a competitive person, but not a bad sport. Like we could see competition in both of these cards, the five and the six. But with the five, I think there can be more of an unsportingly behavior. Whereas with the six, we see more good sporting behavior. Here we see winning. Here we see getting what you want, achieving your goal. Karen Winkle says, expansion is growing pains. Makes sense. Yes. Sarah, I was just going to ask if the Five of Wands reverse suggests a tendency to avoid conflict, to deflect or ignore the problem. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Chriswell says, well, the Five of Wands could be brainstorming. It absolutely could. It absolutely could. Okay, six reversed. Sometimes the six reversed is when a person feels like they're a loser. Oh, sometimes it's someone who's afraid to step into their victory. I have seen the Six of Wands reversed so often for women who are having a hard time getting pregnant. And I don't know it at first. I'll look at it and I'll say, there's something you feel like you're not winning at. And they're like, yeah, I've been trying for 2 years to get pregnant. Although interesting, in the few cases I've seen it that way, they do end up getting pregnant and having children. So I don't know if it'll work that way for you, but it's worked that way for me. So one thing, and this is a reason I see victory in the three, I really like to look at the cards that are half of a card, right? So like the six is a six, the three is a three, the three is the first victory, the six is the solid victory. Like if you look at fours and eights, threes and sixes, twos and fours, you can really see how they relate to each other. Fives and tens, and I like to see that story as well. So Anita says there's always some inequality in the sixes. Well, certainly, I guess because there is a winner, there's always going to be a loser. And typically, when I see this card, the person I'm reading for is the winner. Oh, Anna, this is good. Six of Wands reversed, resting on your laurels and not keeping it up. So important, so important. Okay, Betty, Six of Wands, you're doing something right. Yeah, absolutely, you're doing it right. Chriswell, Six of Wands, the guy in the back is still disagreeing, but most are on board. Yeah, there you go. Anna, okay, we already got that one. Diva Sabrina, six. In the Modern Witch Tarot, the girl is astride the horse and has an earring on that is a big V for victory. Marion, Six of Wands reversed. I can see it as the poor me feeling sorry for themselves and not being able to just see how much they already have. Sure, it can be an Eeyore kind of a thing, sure. Vivian, Six of Wands, sharing your energy with others. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Beautiful. So now we get to the seven, and you can see like the ups and downs of life are here, right? So in the four, things are good. In the five, well, we got issues. In the six, things are better. Oh, but then we get to the seven. And with the seven, things get really tough. And as Chriswell pointed out, his shoes are different. I always saw that as him being sort of ill-prepared for his task, although he's doing fine. Like I think about the times I've ended up in two different shoes. It's because I rolled out of bed and didn't pay attention, but I had to deal with something. Now, in Secrets of the Waite Smith Tarot, Marcus Katz's book, he speaks of Marcus Katz and Tolly Goodwin wrote the book together. They speak of this character as being Petruchio from Taming of the Shrew, showing up at his wedding very poorly prepared. So that's a thing to think about. Hey, Rick, nice to see you here. Glad you're here. I'm happy you're here too. All right. So here, when I see this card, it is really bolstered. Okay, you won in the 6, and now you have to do something even harder. So maybe you won at regionals, and now you're going on to nationals. Maybe it's something like that. You've had a success, but now it gets really hard. And it could be that people are speaking against you. It could be that no one is there to support you. It could be you have a lot coming at you and only you can handle it, but you are handling it deftly. You are a giant. No matter how ill-prepared you feel, you are a giant. But you know what? This can also come up to talk about defensiveness. Like if you say, okay, I need to have a conversation with my partner about something. How are they going to react? Defensively. Reversed, I often feel like we're letting down our guard in a good way. We're learning not to be so defensive, and we're letting people help us. Sometimes this is about you got to let people help you. Here, you are letting people help you. So, let's see. Okay, Sarah, what a great story. I think after the 6 of Wands success, the 7 of Wands says now you're in an enviable position. Very good. You worked hard to get where you are. Now you have to fight to keep it. Oh my goodness gracious, yes. You are only as good as your last whatever. Yes, absolutely. Diva, he's wearing green and I associate green with strong intellect. So I see this card as a mental struggle. Sure, quite possible. Betty says she wore 2 different shoes to work one time. Yeah, man, it happens to the best of us. It has happened to me. Dave, looks like a lone dude defending against attackers. Yes, successfully. There is success in both of these cards. It's just a different energy. And Chriswell reminds us that Pixie was a stage set designer, so Petruchio could definitely work, yes. From Christine and Celeste, 7 of Wands fighting to stay at the top. Marion, 7 of Wands, you won in the 6, so now you have to defend your victory, yup. Betty, 7 of Wands, feeling like everyone is out to get you. Could this be paranoia? Heck yeah, it sure could be. Or they really could be. It could be either. Okay, one is diagonal, the other, I think it's that the diagonal one, I guess, is the one he's using to defend himself with. So it's basically you got 6 against 1 here, but 1 is still winning. Barbara, 7, annoyed with people shoving their ways of doing things at you. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. You got to do it your own way. Absolutely. Pamela, also a 7 of Wands. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. Yes, standing your ground. There is a good and bad role in defensiveness. Thanks for bringing that up. 100%. Rick shows fortitude to stand for beliefs. Absolutely. Could the 7 of Wands be a dissident? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, on to the 8. One of the few cards. And Chriswell says 7 of Wands, you can't block them all unless it's diagonal. Exactly. Okay. 8. One of the few cards in the Waite deck where you see no people. You can't see where the wands are coming from. You can't see where they're going to, but they're going somewhere. And so now, I feel like this is when something takes a life of its own. Whether, we're talking about this project or this business or whatever it is we've built, it's got a life of its own. It's moving under its own power. With this card, I will often say, raise it up the flagpole and see who salutes. Put it out into the world and see what happens. This is the card of swiftness. And sometimes it will show up just to add that to a reading. How should you do it? Swiftly. When is it going to happen? soon. But you know what? This is another way that we cross into the territory of air, because this can be a card of communication, of receiving or giving communication. Criswell says, well, with the Eight of Wands, we're moving up, could be. Or I guess he says sometimes they're moving up, could be, absolutely. Sarah, after the Seven of Wands is cleared, the Eight of Wands says you have the freedom and space to propel forward again. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. But aided by everything in the past, so now more swiftly and more freely. So beautiful. Marion, Eight of Wands, I sometimes see as the actual internet. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Reversed, it can be problems with your internet connection. That is brilliant. I love that. Claire, in design, diagonal lines evoke excitement, action, and instability. So cool. I did not know that. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So, Anna, Eight of Wands, breaking news, getting new information. Oh, very good. Very good. And, when it's reversed, maybe, not getting that information or not waiting for that information. Danielle, Pixie based most of her cards on shows she was involved with. See the backdrop in many cards. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Sarah, thinking back to relationship readings, maybe it means you're moving really fast, swept off your feet in a whirlwind romance. Absolutely. So if the question is, should I do this project? Yes. How's my relationship going? Very quickly. You might want to be careful about that. What will be the outcome of something? No one knows. Some things are just unknown. And Criswell says 7 to 8, one's diagonal and now they're all diagonal. Oh my gosh, I've never thought about that before. That is brilliant. Everyone was against and now they're all on board. All your ducks are in a row. Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Anna, on health again, the Eight of Wands shows at times antibodies onto the mend. I love that. Speeding toward the mend. Barbara O'Brien, sometimes I see the Seven as planting another stick or planting another passion in the ground, planting more ideas on building, to build on what's already there. Vivian, Eight of Wands, instant messaging. Yeah, this is a great card. And if you do tarot magic, this is a great card to add to your tarot magic to make things happen more quickly. Okay, on to the 9. And again, you see this up and down thing because, okay, now, right, we're moving freely into the great wide open. We're great. Now we're stuck again. Here we have the wounded warrior who has fought, been wounded, and stands ready to fight again. Oh, I love that, Dina. Momentum for this card, for the 8. Beautiful. So with the 9, we see, in both the 9 and the 7, we see defensiveness in both of these cards. And you have to decide, is it appropriate to be defensive? Is it okay? Are we saying you need to gird your loins? Or are you being overly defensive? Oh, back to the reversed Eight of Wands. Don't do it. Stopped, stuck, slow down, bad internet connection, not getting the information, people not on board. People not on board. Thank you. So with this, we see stuck. With this, we see moving forward quickly, not happening. And sometimes I see this and I'm like, I see the Eight of Wands reversed and I'm like, we can go this far and no further. Line in the sand, done. Thank you, Vivian. Okay, Nine of Wands. Everyone else has an opinion, but you hold your own. Sure, sure. You have healing to do, but now is not the time to heal. I do see this as a card of patience. Be patient and do not go seeking a fight. Defend what is yours, pull in, defend. Now is not a time to expand. Now is not a time to go looking for something, just defend. Anna, 9 of Wands, patterns that are not serving you well, but that you insist on. Sarah, looks like the 8 of Wands whomped the 9 of Wands on the head. Seriously. Betty, 9 of Wands, doing a reading about a family member. The person had a stroke with a brain bleed. Yeah, there can be health issues with this card. Pamela, a warrior. Yes, either literally or figuratively. And reversed, I see really the need to ask for help, really the need to let down your guard, really the need to heal now. And Pamela in this card says strategy, know your strategy. Absolutely, yes, this is definitely a strategic warrior. Dave says choose your battles carefully about this card. Beautiful, love it, love it, love it. Absolutely. Okay. Cynthia, 9 of Wands, you learn from your mistakes, now you're waiting. Yes, there can be a lot of waiting here, a lot of need for patience. Dina, 9 of Wands, need to return to the source. I love that, that's good. Vivian, 9 of Wands, you are gathering your energy back again, you are at the end of the cycle. Gypsy, 9 of Wands, setting your boundaries. I love it. And so interestingly, with the reversed, I'm like, okay, done. Got to do something different now. And again, we see from Melanie a little bit of that diagonal wand here, which is so interesting. I've never thought to compare those things, but it makes a lot of sense. So with the 10, PTSD from Claire, yes. With the 10, this can be a card of carrying burdens that you don't need to carry. It can be a card of oppression, but I love this card because I'm an entrepreneur. And I think of this card from an entrepreneurial perspective. That, okay, I've made all of these wands and now I have to carry them into market to sell them. And it's hard and I'm doing it all alone. But who would carry a bunch of wands like that? It looks like they're almost carrying themselves. So with this card, I feel like you need to ask yourself, are all the burdens you have appropriate, or are you carrying things that you shouldn't carry? And with the reversal, I feel like maybe you are carrying too much, maybe you need to ask for help. With this 10 of Wands, I actually see we are on our way to success. Now, Anna with the 10 of Wands says unable to say no. That's brilliant. Diva, the 10, keep your shit together. I love it. Vivian, 10 of Wands, collecting. Betty, 10 of Wands, responsibilities. Absolutely. And again, I noticed that they're all diagonal from Melanie. Now, very quickly, moving on to the court. And obviously, we do a whole class on the court cards. But when we look at the story here, once we finally get to the 10, where we have some success, but it's not easy, then with these cards, we look at what we have learned. With the page, we have really learned about our element. With our knight, we've learned to move forward with the element. With the queen, we have learned to nurture the element. And with the king, we have become a leader. We have mastered the element of fire. Now, you can also tell this story in the other direction. We can see the king and queen as mother and father God. We can see the page of wands as we, their human children. We can see the 10 as the situation into which we are born. And we can tell the story going down in the other direction until we get back to source, which is the ace of wands. Adina for the 10 of wands sees hoarding. Rick says the 10 is breaking through the boundaries set up in the 9. So beautiful. Heidi, the 10 is taking on other people's stuff. David wonders, could the 10 be the cleanup after the battle? Sure. Absolutely. Pamela with the 10 says work smarter, not harder. Very good. So now I would like you to do a final exercise. I would like you to think about something that you are working on or learning. Danielle, I love this. With the 10 of Wands says oppression, don't give up. You keep going. The long arc of justice. shoulder it, and keep going. That's beautiful. So take all of your 14 cards and think about something that you are working on and ask for advice. Give me advice on this thing that I'm working on that I'm passionate about. Shuffle just these cards and pull one card to give you that advice. And Anita says, yes, when you tell the story that way, you're back to the ace, but with everything you've learned. That's beautiful. Okay, Cynthia says 10 of Wands, putting all the responsibilities on yourself. Sure, you may need to delegate. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, and there I have the 10 of Wands, and I have been feeling like I've got a lot of projects. I'm doing a lot, but I will take them forward and I will be successful. Absolutely. So as we say goodbye, if you'd like to share the cards you got, please do. And try that exercise and try telling the story in the other direction as homework. So I would like to remind you that I am available for readings by phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, or Zoom. I'm also available for mentoring and private instruction. Please join us back here Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Global Tarot Circle. Karen gets the 2 of Wands. I need to plan to get a new job. Absolutely. And visualize it, see it, do the magic around it. Absolutely. Anita, you also got the 2 of Wands. What are you envisioning? What project are you thinking about? Diva, you got the 10 reversed. Are you looking at spreading the burden a little, letting go of what didn't serve you? Are you asking people for help? Claire got the 6 of Wands and thinks that means she needs to stop resting on her laurels and get to work. Chriswell got the 4 of Wands, needs to promote louder. Beautiful. Dina, the 5 of Wands, keep expanding knowledge. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so remember, you can go to my Facebook business page, Christiana Gaudet, and get tickets for my upcoming classes. You can also get them on my website, Christiana Gaudet, under events. Let's see. So Thursday, September 24th, 7 p.m., The Meaning and Magic of Tarot Reversals. Wednesday, September 30th, Journey Through the Major Arcana of Tarot. Please join me. Also, remember, you can go to cardandcraftacademy.com to buy pre-recorded classes. And don't forget, while you're here on YouTube, to subscribe to StarCast. That is STAARCAST. It is where I interview presenters and people involved with StarCon. Make sure you check out the StarCon webpage, STARCON.com. StarCon will be an annual tarot conference in Florida. We'll be announcing this month whether we will go ahead with the plans to do it in person or if the first one will have to be virtual, looking at where we're at with COVID. But it is an annual thing. We are building it. And we want to have you join us one way or the other at StarCon 2021. So make sure you look at StarCast, and you can join the StarCon group on Facebook and like the StarCon page. Please like this video, please share it, and please come back Wednesday for our Global Tarot Circle. Thank you all so much. It's great to see you here. Have a great weekend. I know it's a holiday weekend for all my American friends. Glad you're here, and I am available doing readings all weekend long. Thanks so much. Take care.